step off the limb. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Hey guys, Nick here, and on July 20th, 1969, 45 years and 2 days ago, Neil Armstrong became the first human to walk on the moon with his companion Buzz Aldrin in close pursuit. That historic climb down the Apollo 11 lunar module has been often considered one of mankind's greatest technological achievements. Today I want to take a retrospective look at Apollo 11 and its half-century-long implications. Let's check it out. First things first, let's cover the sheer size and cost of the Apollo program. The first thing we often think about when we hear Apollo 11 are Neil Armstrong's storied words. But the truth is, Apollo 11 was the culmination of decades of work by hundreds of thousands of people working across dozens of disciplines. It wasn't cheap either. A single Saturn V that was used during the mission cost up to $375 million in 1969, which nears a few billion dollars in today's currency. In 2009, NASA took a look back at the cost of the program in its entirety and arrived at the figure of $170 billion in 2005 dollars. Almost $200 billion today. Compare this with just the $133 million that SpaceX charges to take a spacecraft to the ISS, and we can picture the sheer immensity of the Apollo program. Whether the Apollo program was worth that kind of expenditure is a question that has been argued about for decades. NASA's funding peaked at a massive 4.4% of the federal budget in 1966. Between 1975 and 2000, it has generally floated at around 1% of the federal budget, and since then, in the mid-90s, it has slowly declined to just 0.5%. So, I guess before we talk about the technological legacy of the Apollo program, how about a fun fact? When the Apollo 11 crew returned, they were quarantined because NASA was fearful that the moon harbored some kind of apocalyptic supervirus that could destroy all of humanity. But I guess we really can't blame them. Anyways, moving on, before Apollo 11, computers were the size of rooms, and obviously that wouldn't have been optimal for spaceflight, so NASA teamed up with MIT and Fairchild Semiconductor to create the AGC, the Apollo Guidance Computer. The AGC was one of the first computers to use integrated circuits, or computer chips, and using resistor-transistor logic, they managed to get the clock speed up to a fantastic 2.048 megahertz. Other technologies that were invented or helped along by the Apollo program include heat-resistant materials, the cordless vacuum cleaner, and freeze drying. So not only did NASA manage to put 2 men on the moon and bring them back safely, they were also televising the entire thing down to Earth. Almost 600 million people sat and watched Armstrong and Aldrin climb down the lunar module and explore the moon. And pay respect where it's due, because televising this wasn't easy, especially back in '69. The camera was mounted on a tripod 70 feet above the lunar module and would often take several seconds just to transmit a single still image. And so our Apollo 11 retrospective comes to an end, and while the few decades that followed the Apollo missions haven't been at all that exciting, it would appear that we're now finally on the periphery of entering into another exciting era of space travel and exploration. Thanks to commercial interests like SpaceX and Virgin Galactic, a renowned public interest in space travel is now making a resurgence. And it looks like humanity is finally ready to choose to go to Mars and hopefully beyond. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.